Hello, friends. Clage back, another Punishing Grey Raven guide today, and we currently have one of the more difficult combat challenge events we've had in the game for a good while here. Rapid Pursuit is quite challenging, especially to get the Inferno difficulty clears and achievements. So what I'm going to be doing is going through each boss fight and making a mini guide for how to deal with Inferno difficulty. These are essentially just going to be recorded runs that I commentate over and explain the intricacies of the various fights and how you can better approach them to try and get all the mission rewards and get everything cleared out here, because in general, most of the missions are pretty simple. You don't have to try super hard to get the lower level clears or to hit the parry or paralyze the boss. Those are fairly straightforward to do, and you don't have to do them all in a single run. These can be done over multiple runs. You can spend one run just focusing on getting the stun once, one run where you focus on getting the parry once, and that'll work fine. But the part that's going to trip most people up is clearing Inferno difficulty and doing it below a certain number of hits. This is extra difficult because it is a solo fight where you are using a pre-built character. In this case, for Overseer, we are using Veronica, and you can't alter anything about how she's built. You can't alter anything and add teammates. It is just a 1v1. So, in general, these fights are very much about being patient, utilizing punish windows, and abusing the few moves that characters have with iframes on them. Because obviously, anything with long stretches of iframes lets you get damage in, and you don't have to worry about taking hits and having the total number of hits end up ruining the shot at your achievement. In this case, trying to get hit less than 10 times and clear the boss. So, to that end, I've recorded a couple different runs of this fight, mostly because there are a lot of different sequences and potential patterns, and a lot of times, even when you get a clear, you won't see every move, and I want to try to cover all the various things that can happen so you're better prepared to deal with the different patterns, the different attacks, and all that good stuff. So, like I said, I'll do each of these individually, so that way if you're only having trouble with a certain boss in this event, you can just focus on that guide and not have to worry about the others, all that kind of good stuff. But let's go ahead and we'll take a look at how this fight works. The general flow of play in this type of fight, at least this one with Veronica, is that you need to be very patient. You need to manage your dodge gauge super well, and you need to pick your spots to get matrix procs so you can dump a bunch of damage. But more importantly, matrix procs are what are going to enable you to spend signal orbs and to build up ultimate, because getting into ultimate is where the vast majority of your damage is done in this fight. So let's go through piece by piece, talk about how this fight works and how to approach it. So the opening will always start one of two ways. Either Overseer's going to dash back and prepare the single rifle shot, which is very easy to dodge. It's just a circle that slowly shrinks and then the shot goes off. It's not terribly hard to deal with. The other thing Overseer will do in this situation is point the gun upwards, and then it'll fire 3 bombardment shots that are going to come down on the screen, create a red circle where they'll land, and go from there. And the nice part about that attack is it's probably the single least threatening attack this boss has. All you have to do if you see it stick the gun in the air and fire the bombardments is just keep walking. You don't have to dash, you don't have to dodge or anything. Just walk a little bit off to the left or right and lead the shots, and give yourself some room to deal with whatever Overseer is going to do next. In this particular fight, it just dodges backwards and immediately does the shot instead. So I go up, do the shot, proc matrix. So now, procking matrix is very important because if you have resources built up, you have enough time in matrix to effectively do 3 blue 3 pings and use your yellow orb once you fill the core passive gauge. That will give you enough to get your ultimate online. So anytime you proc a matrix and you have a bunch of blue orbs and the yellow orb ready to go, you should be able to get into ultimate from there. So in this case, what I'm going to do is walk a little bit forward so I'm in range. The first attack hits. I dodge cancel this first blue 3 ping, then do the back-to-back 3 pings with the 2 different attacks that combo into each other. As you can see, we have yellow online now because we have our core passive gauge filled. I still have time from the matrix finishing up to go ahead and mash the yellow to get that attack out, and now we have ultimate. Activating ultimate, just like any other ultimate, has iframes when you start it up. So as soon as you hit this, no matter what the boss is doing, you can't be hit. So as you can see, as the animation was going off, the boss tries to do the shield swipe, but because I'm coming out of the ultimate animation, it just whiffs, which is great. What I like to do a lot of the time after I've procced ultimate is to just dodge away and see what happens, because once you get an ultimate, you have one goal with Veronica. That's to spam all your red orbs to build up your white orbs so you can do the hold yellow attack while in ultimate mode. The reason this is so important is that the hold yellow, the big long torpedo attack where she spins and just drives the spear into the enemy over and over, that has iframes on it for the entire point. So that is kind of your chance to breathe, lay down a bunch of damage. And if you spend all your red orbs, get all the white orbs built up before you do the hold yellow, holding yellow will always build you enough for your full ultimate. So you can just do hold yellow into your ultimate. You will have iframes for the duration of both of those attacks, so you can't be hit. So once you get to hold yellow, you have effectively done your job, and now it's just laying down all the damage. So I oftentimes will dodge away at the start of ult just to see what happens. In this case, it goes for another shield slash. So now that it's done that, I know I am far enough away that I can go ahead and do a red orb, see what attack comes out after. Since I see Overseer reach its legs up and go for the stomp attack, the nice part about the stomp attack is that if you are in ultimate mode and you are floating and you are not all up in the boss's business, if you do not literally have your head lodged into its torso, the ground slam attack where it rears its legs up will not hit you while you're in ultimate mode because you're airborne. And this has a very, very, very tiny ground hitbox. So Veronica clears it pretty easily. I do dodge away just to be safe because sometimes it's hard to tell how close you are, and so I move away for safety. But 9 times out of 10, that attack just won't hit you if you're in ult mode. So spend our orbs. Now I have all the white orbs online. This means the hold yellow is ready to go. As soon as you start holding yellow and you see her fly back to start the spin attack, you're in iframes. You can't be hit anymore. You are free to just hold this down, let the entire attack rip. You'll see it does pretty good damage. In general, the idea is that every time you get an ultimate online and are able to go through all the entire sequence and cast your full ultimate, you should knock off about a fifth of the boss's health with the amount of time it took you to build up into ultimate and then actually use the ultimate in ultimate mode. So we go ahead, cast full ultimate. This knocks some damage down. Now, out of either ultimate, whether it's going into the mode or casting your full ultimate, I like to go ahead and, again, try and kind of dodge away to assess the situation and see what's going on, because there's a lot of visual noise out of the ultimate. You get the giant fire explosion, and then you're going to get the expansion of the healing field that Veronica does after her ultimate, so it can be hard to see what's going on. So I like to just walk away, see what's coming. If the boss isn't doing anything, cool, just let's wait and see what it does. So in this case, it opts for the shield charge, so this is not the parryable shield charge. If you see it with just the shield glowing, not the big barrier-looking reflector in front of it, this is going to be the attack where it comes up and swipes at you with the shield. So it comes up, I dodge through the shield swipe. This gets me Matrix. Since I'm right next to the boss, I know I have enough time to go ahead and do the entire Matrix sequence. So I'm going to burn 3 sets of blue 3 pings, use the yellow orb, and get back into ultimate. So blue, 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 yellow, ultimate again. And same thing, I'm going to go ahead and move away after I use the red orb. What you can do is tap the red orb and then just dodge immediately, because these are dodge cancelable, and that'll ensure that no matter what the boss is doing, you should not get hit while you're trying to get your red orbs spent and your white orbs online. So in this case, the boss goes for the shield slam. That gives me more than enough time to mash 1 red orb and then get out and dodge away so I don't take a hit while doing that. And since it's recovering from the shield slam, I now know I have enough room to do the 2 other red 3 pings. And now I'm safe to just go ahead and spin the hold yellow and then immediately go into the ultimate. So important part of this fight is once you get Overseer to 60 bars, once you drop it to 60% effectively, the next hit you do on Overseer is going to trigger the transition into phase 2. One important caveat about that phase transition is that it cannot interrupt certain animations. It cannot interrupt an ultimate. and it cannot interrupt Matrix. So if you proc Matrix and are hitting the boss, you will not proc it into phase 2. So if you have Ultimate online and you see Overseer getting down to 62, 63 bars left, prop your ultimate as soon as you can, because that's going to let you get some extra damage before the phase transition. So in this case, I know it's going to transition as soon as I hit it. Now that it's below 60%, you can mash anything at this point. It doesn't matter what Overseer is doing. If you hit Overseer with a hitbox once it's at or below 60 bars, it's going to do the big parry animation, and it's going to proc phase 2. So we get the long cutscene. Overseer gets powered up. And then we're going to go into phase 2. So the start of phase 2 always begins the same way. Overseer will fly up to this platform, and then it will start a massive bombardment attack. This thing is super easy to deal with. All you need to do is wait until you start to see these red circles fully forming, and then once you do, just start moving left. Like, all you have to do is just walk left. So I just wait a little bit. I start walking in the left. You don't have to rush. You don't have to waste any dodge gauge. Get to this safe spot and just let the bombardment finish. After this, Overseer will always do the same attack after the bombardment. It's going to come here and get ready for the plunge attack. So wait until you see the kind of animation where it's about to slam down. Dodge. This should get you Matrix because of the cutscene, giving us enough time for our Matrix to come back online. In this case, if you've used 2 ultimates to get to phase 2, you're not going to have a lot of blue orbs left, so you'll get like 1 Matrix proc, so you can do a Matrix ping, and then from here, just get a few basics in, and then after the Matrix ends, the shockwaves that come with the slam attack are going to go off, so make sure you either dodge or back out to give yourself room to deal with these. In phase 2, because the attacks are typically much faster startup and in general are more dangerous than in phase 1, I like to just kind of back up and let Overseer kind of dictate the pace of combat. Unless I am in a position where I can either activate ultimate for iframes or I can spin the red orbs into the yellow orb for iframes with the long spin attack, I tend to let Overseer decide what the next move is, because if you get too aggressive and try to get in attacks or do other stuff when you don't have iframes up and ready, you can get yourself in trouble and get stuck in not just getting hit once or twice, but possibly catching an entire combo or some kind of attack that's going to do 3, 4, 5, even 6 hits. And that's obviously what you want to avoid if you want to finish the fight in under 10. So I back up here, and then in this phase, once you see nothing is going on, you can typically do a single basic attack, and this will usually trigger the block, where Overseer is going to block, and then it's going to respond with some kind of attack. Now, the temptation, because of what the tooltip tells you, is to try and keep mashing to force it to block, because if you make it block a certain number of times in a row, it effectively will break its stance and punish and stun it, giving you a large punish window. But I have found in phase 2, that's just way too greedy and way too risky to do. So I'll just tap a basic, have the parry go off, and then see what it's going to do. If it goes for the rear of the legs up stomp, this is the best attack you can see in phase 2. This is very easy to dodge. It's the same telegraph every single time. There's no like false positives on the animations to trick you into thinking it's something else. And you can just wait and dodge, do a single basic, cause the block again, and then see what attack comes next. So in this case, I see it back off and it does the flash. I know now it's going to do the dash in with the big red swipe. So I wait, dodge through the big red swipe, get a couple more punishes. Then this goes ahead and lets us do another basic, which causes the block. So I wait, see what it's going to do. This time it goes out, and now it's coming in with the barrier smash. This is the attack that can be parried. Anytime you see it come in with the big glowy barrier shield as it dives in from the sky, this is one of your best punish opportunities in the fight. You do not want to miss this. So wait till it gets close, hit a basic, you get the parry and the stun. Very simple. From here, dash up, start building as much resources as you can. In this case, I get my second blue 3 ping, I get the yellow orb online, and this is enough for me to go into ultimate. Since it's still stunned, I'm going to immediately go into ultimate and spin these red orbs, because I know I'm not going to be punished, so I can just spend all the red And then now we're into the hold yellow, which means we have iframes, which means we can just let this rip. We don't have to worry about what attacks are coming. And as we do the dive into the tornado, start mashing your ultimate right now. Because as long as you're tapping ultimate and you do it immediately out of the finish of the hold yellow attack, the iframes will just chain into one another and you won't be at any risk of taking a hit. So in this case, I proc Matrix, so I don't go ahead and go into ultimate immediately because I just want to see if I can figure out what attack is coming. Once I see the animation here, I let the ultimate rip, and now, since I saw he was going up to do the big cross slash, I knew it was safe to ultimate and just land and wait. So from here, I'm going to run backwards. Something I would encourage you to do in this fight consistently is run back towards the center of the arena, because if you fight near the edges, it is very possible for Overseer to end up getting pushed out of bounds where you can't reach him. And what's worse is if he does the big barrier dive that you can parry, right? If you parry that and he lands outside of the arena, what's going to happen is he's just going to fly to the center of the arena and it erases the stun. So in general, if there is an attack going on like this cross slash where it's just you waiting to do a dodge and there's not much else going on, try to lure Overseer back towards the center of the arena, because fighting on the edge is not a good situation. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if you do that. So the cross attack is pretty straightforward. Wait for it to start moving forward, dodge. It's a very easy attack to dodge. And then just wait and see what happens here. So he just lands. I'm going to wait, see what comes next. This time we're doing the plunge attack again into the shockwave, so I dodge. Trigger Matrix, I'm going to get in a couple basics, and then dodge back so I don't get hit by the shockwave. I know he's still recovering from this attack, so I go ahead and spin my blue Matrix ping while it's available. And from here I see the regs rear up, so I wait, move over and dodge. This time I dodge a little late. Remember, it is perfectly okay to take a hit or two throughout this fight. You just need to be under 10 hits. If you're trying to do a no-hit and like a showcase fight, I mean, you're not worried about this guy in the first place, but just remember that it is okay to take damage in this fight as long as you stay under the requisite number of hits. So this applies to other situations other than just making minor mistakes. If you are in the middle of trying to get your red orb spent so you can go into the hold yellow, and you see Overseer doing like a big single hit attack, you can go ahead and trade there. It is okay to take a trade just to get your red orbs used and go into your hold yellow for the iframes. As long as you're not taking a big multi-hit string, that is a perfectly acceptable way to just kind of take a trade and keep the fight moving forward. Because even if you take some damage, Veronica's an amplifier. She heals herself in a myriad ways. So don't feel too bad about trading one hit if it sets you up to get your ultimate and your big damage online. So I take the hit here. It's okay. We just recover, dodge the next stomp. And then from here, this is the double shot. I go ahead and proc Matrix. And even though I'm not really hitting here, I opt to just spin my Matrix proc and the yellow orb for the sake of getting signature energy built. Because again, hitting with these is nice. It does some damage. All your damage is based around the ultimate. You're really only chucking off health bars if you're in ultimate mode. So we do that. I dodge out of the way of this. This attack is one of the more dangerous ones in phase 2. So anytime you see Overseer, see the little swirl at the top here? You have to really be paying attention, but you'll see the red kind of arc here that swirls around before Overseer dives down. That is your visual cue that it's going to be the move where Overseer slams down and then does a big crescent slash. And this is dangerous for a couple of reasons. One, obviously this hitbox you don't want to be messing with too much. I do get tagged by the front of this because this is fast and it's not easy to react to this. So if you're having trouble seeing this, don't feel bad. This one takes a while to recognize. But the more important thing is that if you see this attack, you need to dodge and get away from Overseer, because this is going to have a second shockwave after it and you cannot be close enough to Overseer to dodge it. What you're going to have to do is dodge the first and then dodge the second. You can do this as long as you have the dodge gauge. I don't like doing this because I like keeping my dodge gauge as full as I can unless I absolutely need it, because there will be times where sometimes Overseer does a multi-hit attack like this where you have to dodge multiple times, and then it will just very quickly launch into another string of attacks that you're going to need multiple dodges to get through. So a big thing in getting this fight down is figuring out when it's time to completely disengage so you can save some dodge meter versus when is it time to dodge in and try and get some damage in or build my matrix or build my ultimate. If you know matrix is back online, if you see your matrix back up, then by all means dodge in and go nuts, because you're just going to get to iframe through stuff. But so in this case, I get out of dodge, let the second shockwave hit, and then now wait for the next attack. In this case, we get the plunge again, so I dodge out of the way, do one hit, dodge back so I don't get hit by the shockwaves, take a couple more hits. We get the dash in with the big horizontal slashing in. This gives me matrix, so I have enough to go ahead and get into ultimate once again. You'll see I do one red 3-ping and dodge away. When I see Overseer move away, I know I can spam another couple orbs here because I have time. This gets me into ultimate, so now I have carte blanche to go ahead and start holding yellow. As you can see on my input viewer, I'm just holding it and not going to take any damage. This is just going to go ahead and get the big chunky damage in. Let ultimate rip. And then just like before, I'm going to dodge away after the ultimate, so I am not in danger of taking a stray hit from some attack that starts after this aspect. So from here, he goes into the big laser dive. This is one that's kind of hard to pick up on because it doesn't have a big flash or warning before it starts. You'll just see him start to point his gun down. So you see here, the muzzle gets a tiny flash, and then he points the gun down. As soon as you see that, you need to start dodging, because the moment this comes out, you have very few frames before this is going to hit you. So start dodging as soon as that laser beam hits the ground, and you'll be safe. The one nice thing about this attack is that after he does it, he's just going to land. He's not going to follow this up immediately. Well, not going to land, excuse me. Sometimes he lands, but he does have a delay after this attack. So you have some time to kind of see what he does once he does the big ground laser. A lot of the times for me, he tends to land here. In this recording, he just doesn't, to make me sound even more stupid than usual. Thanks, Overseer. But from here, now it's the same thing. I just let him dodge around, waiting to see what attack he wants to work with. In this case, he's going to come in with the big slash again, the ground swipe. This is similar to the big horizontal slash that he does. Both moves have a similar animation. The good news is that if you're always dodging to your left, you will dodge both of these every time. So I tend to dodge to the left when he's coming in from an air attack, because that tends to get you out of the way of almost anything he's going to do. And sometimes it's very hard to differentiate which animation is coming out. So from here, I proc Matrix. I go ahead, build up as much resources as I can. Since I don't have enough to ult yet, I disengage for a minute, see what attack is coming. In this case, it's the plunge again. So I just get out of the way, let the shockwaves go off, take a couple hits. He goes up again, and now we go into this final phase. So I have seen this particular attack proc anywhere between 25 and 20 health bars. It seems to be brute forced if you get Overseer under 20 bars and he hasn't already committed to another sequence of attacks, but I have seen him go into this as early as 25 bars. This is a very easy attack to deal with. As long as you nail this, from here, you're usually going to be good. Like, the fight is basically going to be over if you hit this last sequence right. So I like to just dodge the first one. You can parry all of these if you want. I prefer to just dodge the first two and not deal with them. So dodge, and then wait for the third. You need to swing on this for the parry a little bit earlier than you think you do, because it... Whoops. Resize there. Because it kind of accelerates as it fires off. It doesn't maintain a speed. So a little early there. Good Lord me. Get the parry. And then this is going to send this straight back. And this is a guaranteed stun where he will teleport to the middle of the arena. And you can go ham here. So in this case, I'm going to build up my resources. I get a blue 3-ping, the yellow ping, a couple more hits. And now I have ultimate online. This stun lasts forever. So I have time to go ahead and spend all of the red into the spin. And that's it. dead overseal. Far less than 10 hits, pretty straightforward. This fight makes a lot of sense once you get used to it, but there are a lot of ways to trip up. So there's that one. Let me load up the second recording for you all because it has some different sequences and some other little nuances in the fight that are worth taking a look at. So this one, same thing, decides to opt with the single rifle shot. So I dodge and I go ahead and spend all my cash to get into an early ultimate. Same thing, he goes for the ground slam, so now I know I don't have to be too worrisome. Dodge out of the way of the rifle shot. As a reminder, like I said, you can dodge cancel red orbs, so I see the rifle shot coming up. I just dodge out of the way, very easy, and then go into hold yellow, abuse our iframes, and get our first ultimate. So from here, walk away, see what the deal is. He goes with the double shield swipe, so the first one, I walked away, so I'm not in danger of the first hit, so I just dodge into the second hit to proc Matrix and spend all the cash again. Very, very easy and straightforward part. So from here, same thing, get out of the way, spend our red orbs when we know we were safe to do so, hold down yellow, and get our big damage. Nice, easy, straightforward. From here, he's going to come in with the big, long, slow dive. Dodge this again, get another Matrix proc. Spend what I can on basics. And then get hit by this. This is probably the most annoying attack in Phase 1. This is the reason I wanted to do multiple recordings of this. This attack where he throws down the shield is really annoying because it has very little animation. Your only real visual cue is you see him go up and you see kind of this bluish yellow flash on the edge of the shield. So we go in and you see right here, this thing right here, this kind of energy wave that's blue, yellow, orangish. This is your only warning that he's floating up and is about to do the shield toss. And this has very little animation. You can see it's very quickly afterwards. This is probably the attack I misread the most in Phase 1. But the important thing to remember, it's a single hit attack that does very little damage. If you take this on the chin, it's fine. It is not a big deal to take this and take a hit. You'll really be okay. Like, taking one hit or two hit in Phase 2 is not that big a deal. If you're taking 5, 6, 7 hits before you even get to Phase 2, that's where you're probably going to want to consider just resetting, because then you're asking yourself to play nearly perfect in Phase 2, and overall Phase 2 is just far more difficult to deal with in terms of consistently dodging attacks. So I take a hit, we just keep going. You know, no big deal. Here, dodge the slam, get my hits in while I can, and then wait and see what he's going to do. In this case, the missile bombardment. This attack right here, where he kind of rears back and fires off the barrage of missiles, that is probably the single most dangerous attack in the run. There are a couple hit things in Phase 2 that if you get hit by, you just die. If you get hit by that big plunge where the shockwaves go out in like a star shape afterwards, you're dead. That's going to kill you on the spot. But this missile bombardment is the most dangerous to tank your below 10 hit run, because if you get hit by those, you're taking 4 to 6 hits almost every time. So if there's one attack that you should be extremely cautious, extremely aware of to try and dodge, that is the big one, and that can happen in either phase. So keep an eye out for the missile barrage, because it will ruin your run. So in this case, this is a little bit interesting, because in this case I get into ult mode, but it's right as the 60 bar mark hits, so I force the Phase 2 transition while in ultimate mode. So this causes a couple wrinkles we need to talk about. So if you phase transition while in ultimate mode, same thing's going to happen. Going to go up on the platform, and it's going to cause the big bombardment. But the important thing to note about if you're in ult mode is that Veronica's base walk speed in ultimate mode is notably faster. So what you want to do is you want to delay your start of going left even more. Because if you move too early, what's going to happen is the bombardments are going to track you, and you're going to run out of real estate and not create that safe spot in the far left-hand side of the arena. So in this case, I'm going to wait a little bit extra until basically all of these are lit up. and you'll see Veronica moves faster. I'm still in no danger of being hit, and you'll see I almost still went too early because the safe spot's much smaller on this than it was on that first attempt because of how quickly Veronica moves over. So just something to keep in mind if you phase change this while in ult mode. But from here, we know after this it's going to be the plunge attack. So I get my matrix, and from here I can just spend all my red orbs. And the cool part is that since you know you're in matrix and you're going to go into the hold yellow for iframes afterwards, what you can actually fit in here is you can do the tap yellow to do one of Veronica's plunge attacks, where she goes up in the air and then swan dives in. And then you can also spin the alternate red orb to give a little bit of damage before you go into the hold yellow. I opted to just hold yellow because it was coming out of the stun and I didn't want to risk it. So, but I go ahead, spin my ultimate, and just like always, I start backing away so I can see what is coming next. So in this case, big horizontal swipe, so dodge away, get back in. He opts to fly, so I just wait. The double shot into the swipe, and this time on purpose I actually just stay in so you can see what happens here. So like I said, this is a swipe that has a lingering hitbox and then a second shockwave after. So even though I'm in matrix and I try to go in through this, you'll see the shockwave afterwards still hits. So that is an attack you have to respect. You absolutely have to respect the big shockwave swing into the second shockwave, or you will get hit even with a matrix proc. But nonetheless, this does give me a matrix proc. This string right here is the other reason I wanted to record multiple runs, because this is probably the most obnoxious string in phase 2. What happens is Overseer does a horizontal slash into a thrust into one more big like full tracking spin slash. And if you get hit by any of these, you are guaranteed to be hit by the rest. It is effectively a guaranteed combo. So this is a sequence you absolutely have to be careful to avoid, and it comes out very quick. So this sequence can very, very quickly ruin your run. So this was another one I wanted to get in. I'm able to dodge because, well, getting hit by that first shockwave attack basically left me with a full dodge gauge since I had to eat the hit stun. And now I can adjust to this one and dodge all three of the sequence, which is obviously, again, super important. So dodge that, cause the block. He opts to go ahead and fly, so I wait. This time comes in with the barrier slam, so we know how to do this. Parry it up, and then take our damage. So build up as much resources as we can. We get ultimate up. Fantastic. And now dodge the slash, spend our red orbs because I got time, and then go ahead, go into yellow because now I know I'm safe. The shockwave can't hurt me. And we go ahead, cast ult. Back up again. Right there. Perfect example of why I say after your ultimate, back up. Show some respect, back up. Because if I try to engage here, I am getting hit by the big old hoof stomp here. So because I'm moving away, I have enough time to visually confirm what animation is happening. So I dodge out of the way, immediately proc another matrix. Cool. I get to go in, get my matrix ping, lay down some damage, dodge another slam, and then he's going to go back, do the ground laser. This time he opts to land afterwards and immediately go airborne once again. Same thing, we dodge the big swipe slash into the ground, get our matrix, and from here, this is pretty good because I'm in matrix. I can just spam these red orbs. And because he opts to do the ground slam here, I'm just going to kill him before he even does the final phase 3-shot. And bam, that's it. So that's pretty much Overseer in a nutshell. Again, these fights are very much about being patient and punishing accordingly. Don't be overly aggressive. Don't try to overextend yourself, and don't try to dodge too much. You have to be very patient and learn your dodge windows and not try to spam a dodge or panic dodge, because again, if you run yourself out of dodge meter or you run yourself down to like a single dodge, there are a lot of sequences where at that point you're just boned. There's not a thing you can do about it. You're going to take damage at that point. So very, very important to make sure that you're reacting to what the boss does instead of trying to set the pace of combat yourself. Doing that will help a lot, and then just kind of follow along with how I deal with the various attacks here. It's going to take you a few tries. It's very easy to take a hit and then kind of lose your bearings and then take multiple hits afterwards. So if you fail a few times trying to get these attacks down, that's perfectly normal. Trust me, it took me a lot of recordings just to get a couple recordings that I didn't completely make large amounts of mistakes and go over the 10 hit limit. So don't feel bad if you make mistakes. You're going to have to reset this one a lot, but these are doable. With a little practice, these are all very doable. You just kind of have to adjust your mindset a lot because these are very different from a typical PGR style fight where we kind of more or less ignore boss mechanics for the sake of get ult, do ult, get time stop. And in this case, the timer has no bearing whatsoever. It is just about survival and playing well. So, like I said, if you've got any personal strategies or anything I didn't go over here that you'd like to suggest to other people, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. I will definitely try and highlight those so people can see all the options they have to approach this fight. And like I said, look forward to the future guides here. I'm going to try and get the rest of these out within the week or so while I'm also working on the next lore video. So I'll try to have all these mini guides done and ready for you so you can go through each boss and get the rest of Rapid Pursuit knocked out. So as always, you got any questions, let me know down in the comments. You want to do all the YouTube garbage, like, comment, subscribe. It's always appreciated, never necessary. And if you want to support my future PGR content and lore videos and all that stuff, feel free to check out the Patreon if you like. No pressure. None of my videos are ever paywalled behind it. But if you'd like to watch them a little early and not have to deal with YouTube ads, feel free to check that out if you'd like. Memberships are as low as $1. So anyway, as always, appreciate you all. Thank you for all the feedback, support, and we'll call it good here. So y'all be safe, be good to each other. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.